Okay, well, we have another day here at the Art of Manifesting Money, how to attract abundance, create consistent money flow, and achieve financial freedom. I'm your host, Anna Della Rosa, and today we have Rach Wilson and Therese Tucker. How are y'all today?
Fabulous. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited about this interview. We get a double.
That's right. And we get to all the way around the world, too.
Isn't that amazing? I'm in Texas. You're in Seattle. Therese and Rach, you're in Australia.
Yeah, just north of Sydney.
Beautiful. And all different time zones right now.
Yes.
Well, I just wanted to thank y'all for being a part of my summit and, you know, just joining me to make everybody aware of how they can work from the inside out to get results. I know it's the art of manifesting money, but once we get aligned and where we're supposed to be inside, then so much more happens. And we don't just see money. We see, you know, love and, you know, connection and, you know, and anything that we want, actually. It happens. But
right.
Where do y'all want to start? Tell us about yourself first, and then we'll go dive into the questions.
Rach, I'm going to let you take it.
Hands the baton to me. Oh, good Lord. Okay, well, yeah, manifesting, like you've already pointed out, it's an inside job. Your external world will always be a reflection of your internal world. So trying to change and control everything external is a futile way to do it. For me, I've been doing business for a number of years. I'm in my 10th year of being an entrepreneur. I should celebrate that. And one of the things I learned more recently, I've known about it for quite some time, but I wasn't living it, was that you can't manifest or get an alignment or bring in what you want if you're in your head too much. And you know when you're in your head because you get into the fear and the what if this happens, what if that happens, and you try to plan everything and do the right thing based on what somebody else has said to do. You know, this is the right way to make money. This is the way to market your business. You've got to follow this process, do this thing. And that will work for some people, but those people who've created that have created that from their own connection to either source or their inspiration, their intuition. It won't work for everybody. So when I finally got that and started to operate more from my intuition, listening to what felt right and was best for me, then business became a whole new ballgame. In fact, that's how, you know, when Therese and I started our business, that's how we've been operating. And in all honesty, this business, I've made more money in the last 12 months than I made in the 8 years put together before that, because I'm operating, utilizing, manifesting attraction, but coming very much from an internal space, not trying to control the external. So, Therese, you want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit about Rach and I. So, I don't want to speak for what Rach does. I'll let her tell you that. But from my point of view, I am a psychic channel, an intuitive, a medium, and an artist. So before I started working with Rach, I was really focusing on my artistic career, which is still happening alongside my business with Rach. And we had got together, and it had started from a place of being totally open. And it started from a place of let's just see what happens. So we have never tried to control the outcome of our business together. And our business together has been sort of an experiment between us of applying everything that you hear, about when it comes to all these newer coaching modalities and manifesting modalities about setting an intention, letting it go, being detached from the results, making space for the universe, all the stuff that we will definitely get into as we talk about the subject matter of attracting abundance. We've applied to this business with no worry about how it turns out. And it's been turning out beautifully. I mean, it's blowing us away, actually. And it's kind of funny how it started because we just got together and we were, Rach is an energy coach and emotional healer and a physical healer as well. She was helping me with that. And also we were having fun just expanding our intuition together. So we were trying experiments, and that's how it started. I was like, what would happen if we just made space for, something bigger to come through? And it was kind of like, we call it playtime. And really that's sort of one of our points of our business is you need to have space to play. And from that grew this amazing connection. And from that we realized we were in business before we actually decided we were in business.
Oh, my goodness. That is amazing. And it worked out.
Yeah. Well, so what happened is we started doing these channeling sessions together, and before we knew it, we were bringing forth the material for a book, which we have nearly 70 sessions worth of material that we have to actually comb through so that we can harvest the book out of it, because it's there. It's already there.
That's awesome.
And then through these sessions as well, we realized that we were supposed to be sharing this with others, and we weren't sure how that was going to show up yet, and it keeps showing up. We have different things that we do. I mean, we have our individual, Rach does individual coaching and VIP days. I do individual intuitive readings, but we also do something called spirit circles twice a month, which is where we connect to lunar energy, and we're aligning with the planetary energy to help us manifest from that point of view. And then we also have the technique that Rach developed, which is called Source for Shift, which is it is moving people through their blocks so fast and helping them manifest a lot faster than they could before doing the technique.
Right.
And so, and it just keeps growing. Like, I feel like there's and then, but I don't know what that is yet.
Yes. I love
Actually,
how both of y'all are just so in sync, and y'all draw from each other's strengths and weaknesses, and y'all are making this team that is, you can't deny it. It's just meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to add to that, let me share the story of how this new technique came through, because it's very much utilizing the principles of manifesting. And it's not just manifesting money, it's manifesting, your purpose, manifesting, going beyond money. Money is kind of like a low vibrational thing, but it's prosperity and wealth, because it encompasses so much more than just the physical money that comes in. So part of this happened because of the sessions that Therese and I do. We're talking to our team in spirit. I'm an A-type personality, so when I get a goal, I get very focused and go, right, that's the goal, here's the outcome, here's the action I need to take. And the old paradigm, which is what we learn a lot through personal development, is, action is the way to success. Action, 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 action. That actually just leads to burnout. So I wrote down my goals and I put them on my wall, and then in a session that I talked to with Therese, she channeled through some stuff, and the thing that came through was to add space around my goals. So I've got my goals on my wall on little tiny, not tiny, but coloured pieces of paper. Mm-hmm. So then she said, well, add a whole bunch of coloured pieces of paper that have nothing written on them to create space for the universe to bring in other ways it can happen, other things you can't even fathom right now. So I have those up on my wall. And it means that instead of having this narrow vision on my goal, it's now my goal and all this other stuff that could potentially be around it. But I have no idea what that might be. And then I found this statement in a book that I read. Can't even tell you which book it was. It was something. It was cool. So I'm not owning this. But
I love it.
The statement was, I don't know how, but something miraculous, mind-blowing, amazing, and bigger than me is happening now, and I love it. Now, that was also me creating space, me putting my hand up to the universe and saying, hey, I want to partner with you on something that wants to come down into the world, and I'm willing to be a part of that. So I said that statement, and I've created the space using the pieces of paper on my wall, and just kept going forward, doing whatever felt good with our business, our podcast and stuff. And then I was kind of led to a couple of other things that then inspired me to create the Source for Shift technique. So I created it and I played with it and used it on myself and got some great results. And then I shared it with a couple of my friends to see how they would go with it, and they got some great results, including Therese. And then I thought the inspiration came, well, run a training on it, train a small group of people, charge $197 for it because that felt kind of good, not too much because it's a new technique. My brain goes, are you kidding? You only came up with the idea a week ago. How could you possibly want to train people and charge people for it? Blah, blah, blah. Because your brain will always get in the way. So I went, no, tuned into my intuition. Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Yes, go ahead. So my brain goes, look, just aim for 10 people because you know your track record is never to hit the number that you think you're going to hit. So make it 10 seems doable. I went, okay, 10 it is. So I put it out. Long story short, I was going to run it 2 weeks later. Ended up running it 3 weeks later because I was sick and couldn't do it. I had 39 people enrolled to do the training across 4 countries. Beautiful. Now, part of what I did very early on was I basically said to the universe, right, if this is as powerful and as effective as I think it is, and it's meant to be out in the world, I'm willing to get out of my own way, but you guys need to help me fill it. You need to make this easy because I am not doing stress, struggle, and strain. And I had 18 people booked in by the end of the first week. At that point, I went, right, I'm taking the numbers off. I'm taking the limits off. Whoever needs to be in this class, allow them to see my post. So universe, you do your thing, I will do my thing. I will post as many times as I can over the next 2 weeks. I will take all the calls. I will do all the things in my power that I can do. But I'm handing the reins over to you on the other side of things. You connect with the people. Help them see my post that they need to see. So I set the intention with each post. I invited the universe to be a part of the co-creation process, and then I let it go. And then that's how it turned out. As a result, I've now got over 50 people that have learned this technique that are all helping me to develop it even further for the next training to run. And it's so far surpassed everything.
That is
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. And, I was noticing online you have the paper, the little Post-its, the mind, the body, spirit, and soul.
The spirit. Correct. All of it. All 4 intelligences, which is what we teach. How to use all 4 in order to align yourself with exactly what you want to create. But it's not just aligning yourself with what you want to create. It's aligning yourself with the universal flow of energy in life. That way you don't get too caught up in, well, this is what I want to have. Because sometimes manifesting is our way of controlling the outcome. And we're really good at it. We think we've got control over it. But what we actually need to be learning is trusting in what's coming. Like with our business, we don't know necessarily how it's going to unfold this year. We've got some ideas, and we know that we're looking forward to it. We're having fun. But if we get to a session where we're meant to be recording and we don't feel it, we don't do it. And what trips people up is where they go, oh, but I have to, I should, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're not in trust. You're not in the flow with the universe. And I want to hand it over to Therese to explain a little bit more about that, because she's been really integral in the teachings that have come through from our team in spirit around it.
Great. So, yeah, I mean, the first thing I want to say, like pointing out your story, is that one of the areas where people tend to give away trust is they don't think they have all the ingredients inside of themselves to make what they want to appear. And one of the things that we have channeled through and that I know now for certain is that anything you have desired, that you have put forth as a desire, all the ingredients are already inside of you to make that desire a reality. You aren't manifesting desires that you have absolutely no ability to manifest. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And so I think when people can get their mind wrapped around that statement, that you already have everything it takes to manifest what you desire, it takes some of the pressure off of you, because we tend to go, oh, and by the way, my spirit guides use my phone to confirm things, and when I said that, my phone lit up, so they're confirming.
That's awesome.
I love it.
They're confirming. That's like, yep, that's right. So, for example, with Rach's story, she talked about how this technique came up, and then 2 weeks later, she's about to do this training. What they want you to understand regarding that story is that there were actually many years of Rach investing in study and learning new techniques that she had no idea she was going to apply these things together. In her mind, probably at the time, and I know I'm speaking for you, Rach, but I'm going to assume you for a second, that at the time you were like, oh, I'm learning NLP because that's the end point. NLP is the end point. Never once assuming that this was going to be part of something that she attaches to, something she creates. In fact, at that moment, she didn't know. It was just for the sake of being there. And what I want to assure you is that all of your life experience, no matter how far-fetched it seems, is actually meant to bring you to your present moment, your present desire, your present manifestation. Your life experience is there as an ingredient to getting you what you want right now. Okay?
Awesome.
And so she had many years of study and training that she did, not realizing that there was going to be a culmination point where they all kind of came together in this beautiful soup that is now a technique.
I know, it's so awesome.
So what I want to just clarify for people is that it's not always an aha, all of a sudden, out of the blue, bolt of the blue, like it just happened.
No.
There's a culmination. And our desires are always connected to our destiny, whether we realize it or not. So the desire to have a big house, if you have a desire for that, is connected to your destiny. How? I can't tell you in this moment, but it's one of those hindsight 2020 things. You look back and you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And so knowing that, you can relax because you are going to get it. Whether you get it now or get it tomorrow or in 10 years, you're going to get it. So if you can relax and know that the minute that it becomes a desire in you, it's done. It really is done. You can let go of that process of struggle that we don't have to participate in, but we generally do. Right. Because there's this belief in our head that, as Rach has mentioned before, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, which is this thing where I'm going to force that desire to become a reality. I am going to pull that sucker into existence.
I love that.
I'm going to make it happen.
Dang it, yes.
And we don't have to participate in that to get what we want. And I do think that there are a few, and, I'm also A-type as well, so there's a few of us who freak out when we hear that it feels very unsafe to let go of that struggle.
Force.
Right? It feels unsafe to let go of that struggle. And yet, both Rach and I have practiced it within this business. And we did it. What they wanted to know as well is that we have a tendency to over-compartmentalize, meaning that if some area of your life is working, you tend to tunnel vision or compartmentalize it, saying, well, I'm good at relationships, but I suck at manifesting money. Or I'm good at, having a career, but I suck at relationships, or however you compartmentalize it. We over-compartmentalize, meaning that we get it. We get this concept in some area of our life, but we don't apply it to every area because we don't trust that it's the same. And they want us to know that energy is the same. If you pull back, if you pull way back, it's all the same energy working here.
And we limit ourselves.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
We do, and we put our own boundaries and walls up by the words that we say, meaning like if you say I'm good at relationships but I suck at making money, you have just condemned yourself to that, and you will be stuck in that pattern until you take the limits off, like Rach did with the numbers, but now take the limits off of that statement, meaning that as soon as you stop saying I suck at making money and you just let it be, now the words are gone, but the thought is still there. So then the thought has to be lifted, which means you need to do something in your energy where you're making space, which is, it might be that I used to suck at making money, but now I'm making space for it, which is a thought that you allow yourself to have, right?
Right.
It's not like you're not making a quantum leap into, I rock at making money. If you don't believe it, you won't.
Baby steps.
Exactly, because belief and being both start with be. You have to be it. So if you're not in belief, you won't be in being. Yeah. So the first step is to identify the thought that's blocking your manifesting, be it for money or love or whatever it is, and start to make an adjustment. So if the idea is that I suck at making money, then you just change the wording a little to I used to, but now I don't. Now I leave space. And that takes some of the pressure off of you for having to get it in this moment. All you're doing is removing the limits. So that would be number one, is remove your limits. Identify them and start to remove them.
That's really good. And
I want to add
don't
to that.
make it so simple and easy to follow. And everybody, like, y'all just have these little sayings and they just flow. And it's like, I can do this.
Absolutely, you can. Whatever your mind produces, it's in your field of energy already. So here's the thing. The 4 intelligences, let's go over that really quick, Rach.
Yeah.
There are 4 intelligence centers that we channel this information through. And they are spirit intelligence, mind intelligence, heart, soul, which they kind of use interchangeably. So heart, soul intelligence, and body intelligence. And most of the time, people are overworking their mental intelligence, the mind. And this is the part where you think the ideas are coming from, and then you're trying to strategize. You're trying to look down the road several months or years, the 5-year plan, look down it and see how that all unfolds. So you start actually telling the universe the limit. You're like, think about it, if you were, let's put it in like someone just joining the corporate world, and their 5-year plan is that they're going to run the marketing department. And then they're like, and then first year I join, and then I get promoted to this level, and then I make this salary, and then they promote me within another 6 to 8 months. And you know what I mean? Like, they're literally tunnel visioning the possibilities. What if the universe says, actually, you're supposed to have your own marketing company, but you're so focused on moving up the ladder in this corporate world and this tiny vision. So the idea is to take off the limits. And in order to do that, you have to incorporate these other intelligence centers. I'm going to hand it back to Rach so that she can kind of go into, how we've discovered how they work.
Oh, yeah. Please do.
Yeah, so the old order is to think it through. And our team in spirit laughingly call it an oversized gland, because it's so overused. So the way to use all 4 intelligences, because they're sort of symbiotic and synchronistic in the way that they work together. It's learning that the mind is meant to be a librarian. It's meant to go and gather the information from all sources. Now, most people, their mind has been only trained to listen to itself, and not much else. So when you're working things out and when you're projecting into the future, it's only really going to 2 sections. It's going to history, because let's look at everything you've ever done and go, well, you never did that very well, and that never succeeded, and that failed. So, the chances of success are pretty slim.
Right.
So where it doesn't have the data, it then goes to fiction and makes it all up, usually based on history. So you've got to teach it to utilize all of the information. So spirit intelligence is like having that access to the World Wide Web. The local library doesn't necessarily have all the information. It has information that's local to you, but it doesn't have, all of the wisdom, all of the experts, a bigger data source to pull from. So it's got to be able to pull information from there. So the way to sort of move forward, make decisions, always first and foremost, to come down to heart and soul first. Heart and soul is your personal guidance system for what is the best and right for you. So in those moments where you get that inspiration, where you feel, oh my God, that would just be so fucking awesome. Sorry, bleep. So awesome to experience that or do that. That'd just be so great. It's usually when the mind kicks in and go, well, you don't have the education, you don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. So listening to that internal spark first. What feels good? What lights you up? From there, once you've got that part, then you go to your team in spirit, the spirit intelligence, and go, right, team, this is what I want to do. I'm asking for your help. Guide me, show me the way, hook me up with the resources. I'm willing to go on this journey. Let's do this together. So that's where the co-creation comes in. Now, the body is actually the mouthpiece for all the intelligences. So that's when you're tuning in and going, well, does that feel good? Does that not feel good? So the body will say, yes, that feels good. So you know, yes, that's a yes. That's a yes from the soul, yes from the spirit, you know, all good. If it doesn't feel good, that's where the mind is meant to investigate. It's meant to go, oh, that doesn't feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? Does it not feel good because it's not the right thing, or does it not feel good because I've got some emotional, mental baggage around it that's getting in the way? So once you kind of get past that, the mind then goes, okay, so the game plan is to do this thing, spirit's on board, great, now I'll come up with a strategy and a loose sort of timeline so we know what action to take each day. But it's got to keep checking in with the soul. Does this feel good? Does that feel right? Hey, team in spirit, have you got anything for me that I need to know? And the body is giving you all of that information every single time. Does that make sense?
It sure does.
It's really simple, but people go backwards. They're asked about. They go straight to the head and think it's all from the head. But but that'll just lead you down the path of stress, struggle, and strain, because you'll always be trying to get it right. If you're not listening to the heart and soul, then it won't have any depth. It won't have anything that really ignites your soul and feels so good and works so easily. It's when you're in complete alignment with your heart and soul, when what you're doing, that everything lines up. Synchronicity takes hold. Things fall in your lap. It's just ease and grace. And then all the guidance comes through from spirit, and the mind just puts it into action.
Love it.
One of my favorite quotes out there is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? So as I'm listening to this and I'm trying to imagine myself getting this information for the first time, the thing that comes up is I'm thinking about, that sounds great, but I'm so afraid I'm going to fail. I'm so afraid that I'm going to just fall on my face and not recover. And one of the things that you, I'm trying to find a way to articulate this, it is the idea of this safety net, or the wings that appear. That if you really understand that you have everything inside of you to make what you want to appear in your life, then there is no way that you can fail. It's really, you just find out what works better. So the thing I would say to the person listening to all of this and saying, wow, that's so good, but I'm so afraid it's not going to work, is that you have to be willing to experience it not working. And the thing that you get from that isn't that I can't manifest. What you get from that is, oh, that didn't work, but now I have a new idea or a new perspective, and now I see what would have worked.
Yeah, and that's even in my own experience. I mean, here I am in my 10th year of being an entrepreneur, and I failed a lot. I fell on my face, my ass, whatever you want to call it. But there was something inside of me that just kept saying, no, this is really what I want to do. I really want to be out there helping people. I really want to do this thing. And it would change. It was relationship coaching for a while, and it was helping people with other stuff, and now it's helping entrepreneurs, but also utilizing spirit in it, because I felt divided for quite some time. So it won't necessarily make sense.
It does.
And not only that, but you never fail down. You always fail upwards. And I love that statement, the idea of failing upwards. It's like you never go backwards, even when you fall down. And that's the beauty of taking the chance on yourself. Taking the chance on yourself, meaning that you have a dream, you have a desire, and you're willing to try to make it happen. Whether you succeed the first attempt or not, new information is always there. And one of my favorite videos that goes around out there are these videos where it shows really successful people. It talks about super successful people like Oprah and Walt Disney and J.K. Rowling, like some of my all-time favorites. And it talks about how they failed. And some of them failed 57 times before they got it.
Yeah.
But every time they had an experience, it brought them closer to the success. It literally got them closer. And I think that if we had the opportunity to talk to any of those people, they would not trade any of those failures in. because they know that each one was another step closer. Each one gave them more insight into what works. And, I think a lot of times when we're talking about manifesting, that there's some idea in the back of people's heads that means you get to bypass failure. And it's not true.
No, it doesn't.
And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish them to not fail, because that would be taking away huge chunks of divine intelligence, of experience, of clarifying, do you want this? Because, yes, as soon as you desire it, you can have it. But then you learn, is it actually what you want?
You have to go through before you can actually come out on the other side. And help.
Let me talk about it from a different perspective. From my artist career, when I first started out, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to make money doing graphic design. I would love that if somebody paid me. Oh my God, I could graphic design this, that, and everything, and they make such a good living. And then I actually got the opportunity to do it a little. And even Rach and I were talking about this morning in our meeting as we outsourced graphic design to somebody. And I was like, I do not want to do this. I do not. I learned that it wasn't this. I learned the reality versus the fantasy, and I learned that it actually felt limiting to me. I didn't feel expansive. As soon as I tried it on, I felt constricted and limited and bored and tired and already ready to, toss it in the trash bin and say, nope, not going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it gave me, in a way I could look at that and see it as a failure, but what I actually see is a lot of clarity and relief. That I tried it. I didn't just say I wanted to do it and then was too afraid to go for it. I tried it. I let myself go, I'm so mediocre at this. And then I realized I had no emotional attachment to it, which meant it was never supposed to be mine. The feeling I wanted, what I actually wanted, was the feeling of a career that's artistic, that supports me.
Right. Yes,
that's what I wanted.
Agree.
Right.
Yep.
But I would never have known that had I not tried it on.
Exactly.
I would never have received that information. And
people see that sometimes as failure because they've tried something and gotten into it. And my husband kind of looked at me, and I did a whole bunch of different courses and stuff, and I did copywriting at one point. I thought, I'll be a copywriter. I'll get really good at it and make it easier in my business. But I got into it and went, no, I don't like that. And he sort of looked at it and went, well, you're doing all these different courses, but when are you going to stick to something?
Yeah.
I said, well, actually, what I'm doing is I'm trying these things and I'm finding stuff that I don't actually want to do, but I'm picking up skills and bits and pieces as I go. Now, I use a lot of that stuff now. I'm not a pro at any of that. Apart from what I do I could do it. I've got enough knowledge to know when something feels good and feels right. And I then access all of that through my intuition. Intuition then goes, use that marketing strategy, use these words, do it this way. So it's given I've got a fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not, the tools that you gain aren't so that you can do that professionally. It's just part of the ingredients of what you're making. It was necessary for you to know how to do that, because down the line, it's going to serve you as it does now. And so sometimes it's necessary. For example, I'm also an actress. It's something I haven't done since I had kids, but what it has helped me do, first of all, there's a lot of work that I did, between the ages of 5 and now, regarding acting, that is very much connected to spirituality. You wouldn't believe it unless you've gone through it, but trust me, it is. So there's a lot of body alignment, a lot of awareness, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of accessing vulnerability, a lot of learning how to trust and fail. All these ingredients that I thought were for this big acting career I was going to have are actually serving me now. And I wouldn't have been able to tell you back then that I would be able to use it in this way.
So handy. So handy. There's just one thing I wanted to add before we kind of wrap up. While we talk about getting into the flow of it and we kind of touched on it before, all the fears and stuff. Now, one of the things that the personal development industry says, don't focus on the negative, just focus on the positive. When you're starting to feel that stuff come up, just focus on the positive. Now, I want to call BS on that. Only because it's fine. You can do focus on the positive if the negative charge or whatever's happening doesn't have an overwhelming emotional content to it. If it's just, you can choose to focus on the negative or positive, great, focus on the positive. But the problem is all these fears that come up when you're trying to get into the life that you want, all of your doubts, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, whatever they are, that's all your emotional mental baggage. Now, if there's a lot of it, that's going to be playing out as a factor in your ability to manifest, which is why I then focused on emotional healing, emotion mastery, and created this whole new technique, because when you clear that crap out, then you fall naturally back into who you really are, which the natural state is abundant, prosperous, completely in love, compassionate, understanding, and then some. So for me, in terms of manifesting, great to do all these things and focus on and create space. At the same time, be consciously working through letting go of your stuff and working through your emotional baggage to heal it, release it, and clear it, because that'll turbo boost your manifesting ability tenfold. Easy, easy, easy.
Love it. And, I mean, I'm going through that now just because I am trying, and I've been an entrepreneur. I've worked at corporate, and then I broke off 7 years ago, and now, you know, I was an entrepreneur and growing my business, and now I want to help entrepreneurs, and, you know, I want to get out there, and I don't want to do it the way I was doing it before, but I couldn't have done it without all these years of going through.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wouldn't have anybody trade what's come before this point. When you get here, if you're at the point that you're listening to this, know that this is the next step for you. That's why you're hearing it. That's what's amazing, is you're connecting to people who have gone through that step and are leading you through it. So here you are at your culmination point. Something has culminated in your life. If you're listening to this right now and you're about to peek into a new thing, just know that you don't have to regret the years that you spent doing something else. It was all the foundation that was being laid for the next moment that you're about to step into.
Beautiful. I wouldn't say it any other way. Perfect. You know, we could stay on the phone for hours. There's just so much to say. And we've touched a little bit of everything, really. And y'all have y'all's podcasts, and y'all have your website, which y'all have the links on my summit page. And y'all are putting together a free gift that y'all can talk about. What are y'all going to be doing for us?
We have a couple different things.
Yeah. Go for it. Therese, tell
or do you want to keep it a secret and let everybody be surprised?
Well, we have something extra special that we're making for you, and that will keep it surprise. But one of the things that we're giving you is something that we offer on our website. They're called Spark Sessions. They're about 3.5 minutes long, and they are moving mantra meditations. And what they do is they get you into alignment on a specific subject. And the one that we're going to be gifting to everybody for you is the one that we have about manifesting money.
With the gold on it?
Yes.
Yep.
I love that one.
One of the things that, and then there's also, Rach does a, what would you call that, Rach? It's like a guided meditation.
Yeah, I call it a gold meditation because it really connects you in with the feeling of safety and security around having more than enough money. So I'll be adding that one in too, which is really nice. It's just a short one. It's very easy to do, but it's beautiful. I actually use it actively in my meditations most days, take myself to this place of gold.
So she's got something that anchors you in, and then what I have something is that activates the body intelligence. So you're saying statements that get you aligned with all 4 intelligence centers and put you in your body, because once information drops into the body, you get it. Like you're able to use it. You're able to actively do what you're thinking about. When it's just trapped in the mind, it's still in this place where it's kind of going around in that little vicious circle of like, I can do this. No, I can't. I know how. No, I don't. As soon as it goes into the body, that just shuts off.
It's a done deal.
And it's a done deal, exactly.
And I love it because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I would not practice my meditations and mantras every day, every single day.
Yeah.
It is in my routine, and I do not, either I'm doing it in the evening or morning, or both.
Yep. Yeah, so this one, we made it so that you can do it while you're making breakfast, doing dishes, dancing around. I brush my teeth to it. I often, sometimes I put it on in the shower and just kind of jam out.
Yeah, good. Love it. Yeah, well, thank y'all both so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome.
You are such a joy. So much fun. And I'll get all of your details on the website. And, again, thank y'all for joining us, and we will talk to y'all real soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.